a few refreshes, if anything, or several, because this happens a lot. A few refreshes. All right. Looks like it's live on my end. All right. All right, everyone. Welcome to the 14th episode of Goddess Spotlight with Liaserenityrose. I'm your host, Leah, and I am joined by my lovely co-host here, Doom the MemeQueen.
Oh.
And we have 3 people here behind the Lovestruck Short Film. AndrewHVA.
Hello.
Matthew Nelson.
Hello, everyone.
And Tom Ham 94.
Hello.
It's just so phenomenal that when you told me, Andrew, that your short film actually won 6 more awards actually at the film festivals.
Yeah, it's a very surreal thing.
All right. And it's very ironic that this is the 14th episode and we're doing it on the 14th. Wink, wink. How ironic is that?
Perfect timing.
Yeah. All right, let's get started with this Q&A, shall we? All right. So, tell us, Andrew, how did this short film came to be and the background behind the creation of it?
Yeah, so we did the first one, which was called Love Sick, and kind of just left it open, for a sequel, or if there's not going to be a sequel kind of thing. I was talking to someone I know who was talking about their relationship issues they were having, and it kind of inspired me with this new idea for the storyline. And so I got to work on a sequel, and that's how it came to be.
Oh, that's very interesting. So there was basically a previous short film before Lovestruck. Very interesting.
There was. Yeah, I wanted to treat this each one as their own solo films, so you could watch it without having to watch the first one, a bit like the Toy Stories.
I totally get it now. Yeah, it's kind of like, even though it's considered a sequel, it has its own story within each film. Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Oh, Doom, do you have a question for them?
If I do, it'll be about the plates.
I knew that was coming. I told them earlier, I was like, they're going to ask about the plates.
What plates are you talking about?
How dare you leave the plates clean?
So the plates. We just filmed the scene in the flat when they have the dinner with Matthew's character Richard, and I guess, as Thomas puts it, our characters were just very hungry that they ate every single crumb and licked the plates clean. Would you agree, guys?
Yeah, Richard's a very, very hungry character, so it's his plate clean.
Everybody's plate was clean.
Yeah, well,
Are they all that hungry?
Yeah, but Richard would finish off the other plates.
Yeah, I think Richard licked all the plates clean.
Hey!
There we go. It was all Richard.
He's that hungry.
Richard just likes crumbs.
Sure, I'll live with that.
Ooh, I'm very curious, Andrew. How long did it take to write the entire script for the short film?
Well, funny enough, there actually was a earlier draft, and when I write these scripts, I send it to Tom to just have a double check kind of thing. He's a bit like I guess you could say what's the word? Quality check guy, I guess you could say. But I usually go to him for feedback, where he just double checks it all, and see what he thinks as well. Because it's always good to get feedback on your scripts when you write them. Because if you just do your own feedback, you get stuck in a loop where it's like, is it good? Is it not? Is it good? Is it not? But when you have someone double check it for you or give you feedback like, oh, I love it, it's great, you go, cool, you can move forward. But the original draft was totally different. It didn't make my character look good. It made everyone seem like, bad guys, just put it that way. And so I rewrote it from scratch. And it took about a month to write, the whole of February. And what year was it when we filmed? 2019. I wrote in February 2019. I wrote restarted it and took a month to rewrite.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I have like a certain rule when I do script writing. It's if you do up to a third draft, it should be complete. And if you still think it needs a bit more tweaking, do a fourth draft. But after that, if you end up going to a fifth or sixth draft, it means the story and the project is not working, just do something else or restart it.
Yeah, I concur with that. I think the best stories often write themselves. Like they just sort of come out of you very easily. And I think if it's not easy, then I think there's something wrong with the story.
Very interesting.
Mm.
All right, here's my next question for you guys. How did you cast the people for the characters in the short film? Like, what did you like when you were writing it, Andrew? Like, did you have like certain people in mind to portray the characters, or if anything?
Well, actually, Matthew here, he auditioned for the first one in a charity shop.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what?
So originally, Andrew, I think, had someone else in mind to play Richard. So I think Andrew wrote it with someone else in mind, and then that person kind of pulled out, and then it just so happened to be that I met up with Andrew and he had the script on him, did a quick audition, and I think I passed.
Yeah, he made me laugh, and I was like, you know what? You nailed the comedy. He's perfect.
Wow, it just felt like it was like meant to be. That role was just meant for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the other characters, like Melanie, Becky, to be fair, she didn't. It's weird for her. It was I literally I had someone else was actually scripted to play Melanie, and then they disappeared like without a trace. And then suddenly, as we were walking after doing a day at radio, I just said to Becky, I was like, "Do you want to be in my film?" And she's like, "Yeah, right." And that's actually how she got casted. And then for Lisa's character, Lisa actually has a small role in the first film, and she's played by somebody else who didn't want to come back for the sequel. I don't know the reasons why. It's just something obviously came up, and she didn't want to return. So we had to open auditions on a website called Mandy.com, which had like all these actors and actresses on there. We had over 100 actresses audition for the role of Lisa. And it was a lot to go through, and Georgi was just the perfect fit, and she did a terrific job in that movie.
Wow. Wow, 100 auditions for
I know, it was crazy. As Thomas would say, he believes it's because of the dramatic scene at the end.
Yeah, because that scene in the end of the film that was like the audition. That was the scene we gave him, wasn't it? As the audition scene. I think everyone wanted that for their show reel. I think. I want that nice juicy argument scene for the show.
Very interesting. That's very interesting how like the role of Lisa, a lot of women, like 100. I'm still shocked. I'm still shocked. 100.
Yeah, 100.
Wow.
We had all types of women auditioning because we opened it for everybody, so we had loads.
That's really cool though. That you at least you got like a big pool to choose from, of candidates, possible candidates for the role.
Yeah.
All right, Dim, do you have a question for them? Another question?
Oh, you know how okay. So there'd be like certain scenes where it's like outside. Was that like in public or something?
Yes, it was. It was actually in public. It was really hard to film certain scenes. We were like surrounded by all sorts of people interrupting the filming. We even had these kids on their bikes, like saying, the F word, the BBC and stuff, even though we weren't the BBC. And
Oh no.
it was so hard to get that scene done. Thomas can tell you how stressful that day was.
Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't having any of it. I swore back at them. I shouldn't have done. It was very unprofessional of me, but
just so you know, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, oh good. I'm glad. Glad you would have done that too. But it's just like because like the take's going so well, and then they just shout in the background and like now we got to do the take again. It's like a one shot thing, because they're walking down. There's like nowhere to cut. So it's like, bloody kids.
Yeah, because we had to film that scene, for example, so many times, like 10 to 11, 12 times, because people kept interrupting it. So it made it very difficult.
Yikes.
Oh, wow. Like, do you remember how many takes to finally get it? At least that specific scene?
Ooh.
Yeah, it was about 11 takes, I think. Yeah, for that.
Yeah.
And then we used take 9 for the first one, and then there's a cut halfway through, which was actually a pickup we did months later when it's the close up of when he takes the money out. Then I think we used like take 11 for the rest of it.
Yeah, so 2 takes in one.
Yeah, one cut in the middle.
Oh, okay. Here is my next question. Were there any like films in general that inspired, the short film? Like any inspirations in general?
To be honest, nothing really springs to mind when I was writing these things. I kind of just wrote them, being inspired by like things I hear from people talking or friends of yours talking about their relationship issues, and just merge it all together to inspire the idea. So I didn't have any films that inspired the film. The only thing I had for the film, which was a song. What's the song again? My Love. No, I forgot which song it was now. What was the song, Tom, that I used? We used as a template.
This will be an everlasting love, I believe.
And the other one.
The other one.
Yeah, the other one.
What? Wait, what are you talking about?
the song that won the award, the dance song.
Oh. You asking
what was the song
the song is?
No, the template. What song do we have in place?
I tried to get. Oh yeah. Oh.
Because that was. Yeah, that inspired the song that I ended up writing.
I can't remember.
We really wanted that one. We wanted the song, the template song, but the rights were very expensive and hard to get, and because a lot of the songs are cut into 3, so 3 different companies own these songs. So it's crazy.
It's like I'll Never Love Again.
Oh, I think so, something like that. Yeah.
I'll Never Love Again. Yeah. Not the
that inspired songs. Yeah, that inspired the love song.
Very interesting. So basically, it was a culmination of like just hearing stories like in everyday life of people's like relationship issues, and then you kind of just culminated that and like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I like it because it really makes it more realistic in a way. Like I remember when Doom and I watched the short film, we were very invested in it.
Like, yeah.
Aw.
Like we were both very invested in it, and I'm just like, this is beautiful. Like like it just feels very realistic, and you guys captured what it really feels like, in terms of the relationship issue aspect. You guys did a
Yeah.
very amazing job.
Thank you.
Let's see. Here's my next question. How did you come up with the title of it? I'm very curious to know.
I don't know. The first one was called Love Sick, and I think we wanted to keep that trend of, Love S. So we just called it Lovestruck, I guess. That's why it's, when there's going to be the next chapter, we're trying to think what could be next. Love sucks.
Sucks.
Love stinks. And I'm kidding.
Love stinks.
Thank you, Adam Sandler.
That's a very interesting. That's a very interesting to keep the titles at least consistent. If you have like a structure of a title, like you said, the first one was called Love Sick, and then of course this one is called Love Struck. What would be the third one?
Yeah, Love Sandwiches. There we go.
Wow.
Covers his love for sandwiches. It's about Richard because he licks the plates, so
That's the spin-off.
yeah, love sandwiches.
Love Sandwiches. Love Sick 4.
That title convention is a really good thing because you already have an idea of like, okay, now we've done like 2 short films. Now we got to think of what would the third one be, and then since you already have that structure, it kind of makes it easier, to envision and brainstorm the next title, so.
That's true, yeah.
Doom, do you have another question for them?
I don't have any questions in mind, so womp womp. I don't know what to say.
Oh, it's all good. I got you. Matthew, what was your experience in being a part of the short film and knowing that the short film won 9 awards? Like, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, the fact that I won 9 awards, I wasn't expecting, so that's really amazing, and I'm proud to have been part of such a successful film. I mean, for me, I feel like Andrew did the script and I read through it and it was all good, and I just kind of did a little audition practice with Andrew before filming, and then I just turned up and acted out my role. So I think it's thanks to Andrew's script and directing that it's been so successful. But I think for me, I think I had overall really 3 days of filming. The last of which was the party scene at the end. The party scene was the most interesting one to film because we obviously had all the extras and there were a lot of people there. So you really felt more like kind of a film star because I'm there to come do the acting role, and you've got all these other extras just hanging about waiting for you to do your lines and bits like that. But that was a really cool experience. But yeah, and then once I'd done all the filming, then it was all the post-production work which I wasn't a part of, and then by the time I saw the film it was kind of a brand new experience for me because I hadn't seen all the other scenes be filmed. So seeing it all together was really cool. And I was watching myself in the film, but in a way, I kind of forgotten parts of the film or the script when I came to watch it. So it was kind of, I was watching a film for the first time, but somehow it had me in it, which was kind of a funny experience.
Mm. Oh, for sure. Like I've heard some, other actors that say that it's hard for them to watch themselves on screen, in movies and films.
Yeah. And I look so young in it now because it was filmed about 5 years ago, and I think at the screening
Mm.
everyone was like, "Oh, you've got a beard now," and
Yeah.
and I'm not so skinny anymore. So I think looking different, looking healthier.
Looking very muscular.
Yeah. I think for the third film they said I was going to have to go to the gym and become really muscular.
Yeah, that was Tom's idea.
That was Tom's idea. Be really ripped.
He wants Matthew to be very ripped and have a giant beard, holding an axe, chopping down trees.
Wanted to be a lumberjack?
Yeah, so the third one starts with like these helicopter shots. The helicopter's flying over this forest. Andersen's in the helicopter, but you don't know yet. You only see like his feet, and the helicopter lands, his feet come out. Then there's an axe, and the axe is like hitting the tree, and the tree's falling down. And then Andersen's like, "I hear you're getting married." And then, Matthew turns around, he's got the big beard, hench and buff. And he's like, "You son of a bitch!" And he like shakes hands. That's the opening of Lovesick 3.
What's the budget for Lovesick 3?
Yeah, probably about like £30,000, I think.
Oh.
Obviously, Tom is joking. It's a joke. He's obviously just parodying Predator, just to clarify.
Oh. Ooh.
That would be quite funny, but
I am very curious, Andrew. Let's see, where's that question? I know I have it in here. Just scroll down a bit. Oh, okay. You have mentioned this like a short while ago. That there were specific love songs like that inspired when you wrote the lyrics for Forever Changed. What were those specific songs?
It was the one we just mentioned, which I've already forgotten what it's called.
Oh damn!
I thought it was "Never Love This Way Again." I don't think it is that.
Never love this.
Love
Yes,
this
it is.
way
I'll never love this way again by.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
John Warwick.
Dwayne Warwick. Yeah. I might pronounce the name.
I'll Never Love This Way Again was the song, the temporary song for the big dance bit.
I really wanted to keep it, and I really wanted it going. I need to get the rights to this and get permission, and it was hard, so I thought I have to write an original song inspired by this.
Yeah, but I think it's better that you got an original song, I think.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. It's But I did try and get songwriters to help me out, but they kept saying to me, they only write depressing songs. So
Oh my gosh!
yeah, they're like, so I only write sad songs. I was like, I have to write it myself then. So I just wrote all the lyrics myself and got my girlfriend's uncle to do make the tune, and then my friend Maisie Newland who did the singing for it, and it was a massive success.
Yeah, like
I cried in the session when she was singing it. I was just like, I'm really feeling it.
oh.
How do I put this in my playlist? How do we get this in karaoke? Because I need the song. I need this in karaoke. Like, it's so good.
Yes, like the song is just so beautiful. It's like it really gives me like 90s love song vibes when I listen to it.
Oh yeah.
Like it really brings me back to the 90s when I used to hear like love songs on the radio a lot. It really gave me like it kind of gave me a bit of like You Are My Lady. I forgot who sings that song. It kind of gave me that type of vibe when I listened to it. but you did such a phenomenal job writing it yourself. The fact that you wrote it, Andrew, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's my first time writing songs, and I have no experience. This is what I mean when I say to people, I just fall into it because it just happens.
You should do that more often.
Yeah. That song, like when I first heard it, I literally cried. I was just
Aw.
I was listening to it in my physics class and I'm trying to hold back tears. No one needs to know the reason why I'm crying. I'd be spreading information.
Like this song is just like it really deserved the award. Like I really agree with the film festivals on this. I was like, it's original and it really captures the scene of that dance scene, and I think that's what was like very interesting about it. Like it just gives the 90s love song vibes, and you did it, and you captured it very well with that song.
Thank you.
Are we going to be able to get the songs on streaming like Spotify and places like that?
Yeah, the idea is to sell it when it's ready for release, and everyone can just get a copy of it and just listen to it as much as they want, and hopefully have an instrumental version for release as well, so you can do your covers.
Yes!
It's very ironic. I remember when I drew an art piece and I had no idea what the short film's poster looked like, and I showed it to you, Andrew, and you said this looks exactly very similar to the Lovestruck short film poster. I'm like, are you serious? And then you DM'd it to me, and I'm just like, oh snap, you're right. And I'm like, I had no prior knowledge what the poster looked like, so I ironically pretty much drew it without realizing it. If anything, it was the most ironic thing. Doom, do you have another question for them?
I'm brain dead.
That's okay. Okay. Can you touch upon like why the short film was in black and white?
Me and Thomas always laugh at this question, don't we, Tom?
Yeah.
Because it's a very simple answer, and I'll let Thomas answer it.
Oh, yeah. It just looks better in black and white.
Really, I thought it was because of like camera or something, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, we shot it on a Canon 60D DSLR, and because we don't have any, we just had like 2 photography lights that we used. Because we're low budget and no money.
Sorry, you did this on a low budget?
Yeah. There was like barely any money behind it.
Yeah.
And so as a result, like when we shot it in color, and we looked at it, we were just like, it just looked a bit like, just a bit garish, a bit sickly, a bit sort of like David Fincher esque. And we didn't, that wasn't the vibe for this kind of movie. So, just put it in black and white, and suddenly it's like, oh yeah, that's much better. So, yeah.
Interesting.
That's why I went black and white.
But hey, it works. Like it's doing pretty well at the film festival. It really stands out because like, most films now are like in color, but but the black and white, like nobody does black and white as often anymore. So it stands out, when you think about it.
Yeah. I was also told that if a film is in black and white, you're more likely to focus on the story and not be distracted by colors.
For sure. Like when I was watching it, I do agree. I do agree with you, Andrew. I was I was so invested in the story. Like, I didn't care what was in the background, but Doom paid attention to the plates. So she caught
I was
on
not focused on the colors. I was focused on the plates.
Like, if anything, it's like you said, like, yeah, you don't focus on the colors or the background or anything. You actually are invested in the story. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
I was on the plate.
Dude, you focus on the funniest like details, if anything.
I don't know why.
I didn't even notice it until you mentioned it to me, dude, and I had to rewatch that scene. And I said, "Okay, now I paid attention to the plates. Okay, I see what you mean." And everything. Ooh, okay. What moments like resonated with you from your guys' perspective from the short film?
Ooh. For me, I love the party scene. Because it was the longest day of filming. We were on a time limit because we rented out the hall, and we had to obviously get it done as quick as possible. Because if we run out of time, we haven't finished it filming, then we lose. Well, that means we have to pay more money to get it done. And also, we had to find ways to make it work with the little small extras we had. So, if you actually pay attention to the extras in the background, you'll notice some of the same people. But yeah, no, the party scene stood out for me. It was actually quite an emotional day for me when filming that because because it was like kind of it was almost one of the last days of filming. It was like the second to last, so we're nearly wrapping up this whole journey because we've been filming since July all the way to December. So it felt like a massive an adventure in itself. So it was like, oh, we're coming to the end now, and I really felt it in that night. There was a few panics here and there because Becky was running late, and I think she's one of the last people to turn up. We're like, she is still coming, right? We can't do this without her. So there was a little bit of panics here and there, but it worked out fine in the end. But that scene stood out, along with I also do love the scene with Matthew's in the middle of the dinner table and stuff because it shows the awkwardness between Andersen and Lisa, and he's just caught in the middle of the whole situation.
Yeah. I think I felt awkward even when I was acting the part. Didn't know where to look. Left and right. So I think I came across them.
Yeah. So I say those two scenes, for example, stood out. I quite There's a lot of nice moments within the film. Yeah.
How about you, Matthew?
I agree with the party scene as well. I think, but also in the very final scene, I really like the shot when Becky's character shuts the door, and then all of a sudden you see Andersen appear in the car mirror. I think the way he just appears is like really stood out to me as a really great camera shot. I mean, it's probably something you'd see in a horror film or where someone suddenly appears in the mirror, but I think this one was a lot more nicer that, oh, Andersen is actually here after all. But yeah, I thought that was a very
God, Andersen's a ghost.
It's not Andersen's ghost suddenly appeared in the mirror.
That'd be crazy. What a twist. He's been killed and he's now a ghost. Lisa killed him.
How about you, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, we were in post on this film for so long, so like, I don't know, I guess I got like desensitized to a lot of it. So like after a while I was like, you know when you watch a film so many times that you don't like appreciate like the story beats and like the moments that are working because you're just so used to watching it. But I think the scene for me that really came together really nicely was the scene when they're on the hill on the viewpoint and they're like looking at the city, and they start talking about, she talks about her past life and that kind of thing. I just felt like in terms of the edit, it was just like it was probably it was like a really nice scene where like we took out the bits that weren't working and then like had it so that it had good pacing and like wasn't too long, wasn't too short, and the emotional beats landed. So I think that's probably my favorite scene in terms of like cutting it. But I'm pretty happy with the whole film. I think the whole film's pretty good. It goes by at a fairly quick pace. So yeah, I think that's probably my favorite bit from the film.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because like I know I know when it comes to like some films, some critics and of course audience will like tend to criticize like, oh, this kind of felt a little too dragged out, So I can definitely see the struggle where you don't want it to be too short and you don't want it to be too long. So that's like I can definitely see the struggle on that, because it's like, because I've heard, like I've heard people say that like, for certain films that like, this part's a little too dragged out, where it's like they could have shortened it, and everything. So that's really good.
Yeah. I think that's because I think I think me and Andrew worked well together because I was always quite keen on hitting things tight, and then Andrew was like, "No, let it breathe." So like we sort of like had a push and pull thing going, I would push, he would pull, a bit of tug of war, bit of an old tug of war in post. But I think as a result, it was good. I think like we met in the middle in every scene, so I think we were both happy, I'd say, by the end. Would you agree with that, Andrew?
Yeah, I would actually. Yeah, because it's about finding a space to breathe, so the audience can take in what just happened. It's something that a lot of the Studio Ghibli films do. That's why they have those quiet moments, just to give you breathing space to what just happened and take in the moment. Because if we just went straight to the next bit without a breathing space, it's just going to feel like a blur, or it's just going too quick, and you'd be like, "What just happened?" So it's a challenge though for a short film, because you have to keep it short, but you don't want to cut too much to the point it's just the 5-second thing.
Yeah, like I definitely agree, because it's like I love the fact that you brought up Studio Ghibli. Yeah, there are those quiet moments, in those films, but they show you rather than tell you in some of them. So it's like you said, we do need to put some breathing space into, specific scenes that do need them. And I think that it was pretty paced out pretty well. Like I was able to follow the story pretty easily. And I think that's what makes it pretty cool. That because if you do it too fast, it's like, yeah, you're gonna have your audience question, what happened in the scene? Like because you do need it to, because they do need the context of what's happening in the scene, because when you think about it, they don't have the colors to, to show them or anything, because like you said earlier, you want the story to be the focal point, not the colors or anything like that.
Yeah. I think another thing I like about the film is the little details. Like if you listen to the soundtrack, like pay attention to like the main theme of the film right at the beginning. It plays throughout the entire film, but it gets sadder and sadder. It's like it's different versions of it, all the way to the end. It's like showing you how him and Lisa are literally just drifting apart. So I think that's like a little I guess you could say an Easter egg, I guess, I don't know, but it's like a little mini detail to the story, and I think also the little bits like, he, does a little twirl dance with, Lisa in the beginning, and it happens again later in the dance when he does it to Melanie. It's kind of like a foreshadowing little detail again where it's like, oh, look, he's just,
The fact that I didn't notice that. What?
Like I said, Doom, you notice the funniest details. If anything. You notice the funniest details.
I'm autistic. I always notice the funny details.
Of course, you are the meme queen.
Yeah.
Here's my next question. What emotions did you want your audience to feel when they watched your short film?
That's a good question.
How are you expecting us to feel?
I was hoping people would feel emotionally invested. This is probably the best way to put it. I was hoping people would watch it, they can relate, they can feel, and go with the journey, Andersen's journey.
You're right.
How about you, Matthew?
Yeah. Well, I think my character kind of brought a little bit of a comedic element to the story, which is why
Richard's my favorite character.
Yeah. Thank you. So I think the story needed that, because if there wasn't any of that, I think it would have been too sad, the whole plot. So it needed those little elements. And it was really good when we did the screening and people laughed at the funny moments. So I think it showed that it worked. And yeah, so in terms of my role, I hope that people found some of it a bit funny, and then at the same time enjoyed the whole overall story arc and the Andersen and Lisa, and yeah.
How about you, Tom?
Yeah, I think just getting an emotional response from the film is great, because sometimes you watch a film, especially like short films, and you get to the end of the film, you're just like, well, what was that about? Like, I don't get it. So it's nice. I think it's nice to have people invested in the story and care about the characters. And I think that's what I think we were sort of after, a bit of like sympathy for certain characters, but also like conflicted emotions as well. Like, I think at the end of the film, when Andersen and Lisa have their row, like, we wanted it to not be pleasant. We didn't want it to be like there's like a clear winner here. It was like, it's just really messy and really difficult. So like, hopefully you were sympathizing with both characters, rather than being like, oh no, well, they're bad. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think just getting an emotional response is good. I'm glad people care.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what all three of you are saying. It's like, yeah, like you don't want things to be too sad all the time. You do need to add some comedy relief, So in a way, that's how like sitcoms work, They have like they balance it pretty well with like serious moments, but they balance it with comedy. So and Richard, like I love Richard as well, like like it kind of feels like that scene where he can feel the tension between Andersen and Lisa.
Yes.
It's like it kind of feels like, oh my gosh, why am I stuck here? It's like I don't it's like, because that's realistic, because if you're like hanging out with a couple and then there's like tension and then you're like, maybe I should leave, because that would pretty much be everyone's response, right? If there's like tension between a couple, they might the first thing they want to do is leave, right? They're like,
oh my god, I see what you mean. Oh my god.
Because I don't want to say Richard is like a third wheel. No, he felt the tension immediately. Like, I think it was when I forgot the line that Lisa said, but he immediately caught on that, like, oh, there's tension here. And you captured that very well, Matthew.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think because obviously Richard Andersen's his friend, so he doesn't want the relationship to be going badly as well. But when you're in that situation, it's just awkward, and you can't really do anything in that moment to help. Obviously, when he's on his own with Andersen, he's able to give him advice and what he thinks will be best for him. But when he's there in between them two, it's kind of you just have to leave the couple alone to sort out their differences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like because when you think about it, Richard doesn't really understand Lisa's perspective, if anything, right?
Yeah,
He mostly
because
talks
he's
to
Andersen's
Andersen.
friend.
Yeah. And he mostly just talks to Andersen, not Lisa. So, like, I love that because it's like he's like, oh, I better not butt in because, like, this is something the couple has to like work out themselves, if anything. And you did such a phenomenal job in that scene. Like, I would have been acting the same way too. I'd be like, what do I do?
And then there was that other scene as well where he's talking with Andersen, and all of a sudden Lisa turns up, and he pretty much just gets straight out of there. He's like, "All right, I'm off." And then he gives the little hand signal as he's leaving to Andersen, like, "You've got this."
like yeah. You did such a fantastic job as Richard. Like it's kind of like you could say it was like your expression and body language, because you know when you're in that type of situation, you know, if you're hanging out with a couple and then there's like tension, you're kind of like like you're kind of just like it's like still, but you could already just have a gut feeling that something's wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think the filming of this film compared to the first one, that's what I found different. Because in the first film, all my scenes were pretty much just me and Andersen, the two of us. It was a kind of a back and forth conversation. Whereas in this film, I obviously had the scenes where it's the three of us, and there were times where Andersen and Lisa were just talking to each other, and I was sat there not saying anything, but obviously having to still act and react with my body language. So I think that was kind of a different skill and a more difficult way to act, because obviously when you're speaking, you're actively acting, but it's that more passive body language kind of thing that I didn't have to do in the first film. This film was a new experience, so I'm glad it seems to have worked.
Yeah. Body language is very important. You know, like we all know the phrase show, but show not tell. You know, you showed it very well through your body
Yeah.
language and expression. And that's already gives the audience when they're viewing it like, oh, he can feel the tension. Like
Mhm.
like where it's just awkward because he's like, uh-oh. It's like, am I in the wrong place at the wrong time? Like
It's probably why he licked all the plates clean, because he was so anxious. That's his coping mechanism.
there's your answer, dude.
There you go.
He was so nervous. He was so
That's why he
nervous.
licked the plate.
He was so nervous of all the tension between the couple, and he's like, I better lick all this plate. But other than what you said earlier, of filming that street scene, was there any other challenges when filming the short film?
I think getting some of the locations was quite a challenge. Like the office, I had to get permission for that as well. It's actually filmed in a church. There's a section in the church that has a little kitchen and an office room. So we got permission to use that, and we had to also had to film on one side of the office because the other side was filled with balloons everywhere and all these boxes and stuff. So we couldn't like do any angles on the other side, or it just looked weird. So I think as Thomas calls it, there's a line. I think Tom can describe it better. What's this?
So when you're shooting a scene, you got to make sure that you obey the 180-degree rule, which basically means that if you have two characters talking, so one facing left and one facing right, they must always face that direction. Otherwise, if you cross the line and then they're looking the opposite ways, it's jarring in the cut, and then it's like, I mean, sometimes you can use it deliberately if you want it to be jarring, but often if you're just doing a regular conversation scene, you don't really want to make the audience feel disjointed. So you got to make sure that the eye lines are in the correct positions. So I think with that scene, Jamie, the DOP, he had to cross the line. And as a result, in post, we had to flip the shots so they were looking the correct way so that it wasn't jarring. And I think it was okay in the end. No one found it too strange.
That's very insightful to know. So it's called 180 rule? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the 180 rule, yeah.
Oh.
So in that scene, when Melanie comes into the office, she's looking to the right, and Andersen's looking to the left. But when we shot it, the close-ups were the other way around. The wide shot was the other way around because we had to shoot away from the balloons. So we just flipped that shot. So we flipped the shot, so that way Melanie was looking to the right, and Andersen was looking to the left, so that it would cut with the close-ups. Otherwise, if we didn't do that, they'd be looking the other way around, and it'd be confusing.
It's interesting. So there was like something going on in the church. That's why there was like balloons.
We don't know. We just saw a lot of balloons and things and boxes and streamers and all sorts of things, like a party stuff. I don't.
That's a very interesting day to like film that scene.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, we gotta avoid the balloons. But that's very that's a really interesting camera like with the editing aspect. I didn't even notice. That's very interesting to learn. I didn't even notice that you had to like reverse the stuff to avoid, to make it
that's good.
Look weird.
Yeah, I think if you look closely, I think like Melanie's got like a bit of hair on the wrong side of the face.
Yeah.
In the wide. But if you really take a look, you'll be like, oh, hang on a minute, her hair's in the wrong place. It's the things you get away with. I think if you're invested in the story, you can get away with these kind of things. Continuity errors, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like the party scene when Richard walks up to Andersen. That scene is literally from a different take from something else that we just thought, let's just use that to look like he's noticed Andersen, but actually he's noticed someone else. And we just had to use it to make him like come towards him.
Yeah, that was the tail. It was a head, tail. That was the head of. So the shot of Matthew walking towards Monica, the girl that he inadvertently awkwardly chats to, was that was just the front of that shot, which wasn't used in that bit because we realised we didn't have a bit of Matthew spotting Andersen at the club. So we thought, let's just use that, and then we can get him into it. And I was like, hey.
Yeah.
That's very interesting to know. I was like, I didn't even notice that.
I didn't even know they'd done that
either. Yeah.
Very clever. Oh, looks like I see a question from _prankster doves. My question is for everyone. What was the drive that made you want to help with this project? Great
Ooh,
question.
great question. Oh, text question. Yes, the drive to make this project is, well, for me, I just really wanted to make this film. I just felt it. I just felt like this story needed to be told, and it was just exciting to continue to make films with Matthew and Tom, and it's just they're fun to work with.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed doing the first film as well, so I definitely wanted to be involved in the sequels. So as soon as Andrew said he was doing another one, I was like, yeah, I'll be there doing it. And yeah, it's fun to do and film, and then to have a great film come out of it is the icing on the cake.
Mm.
Yeah, and I enjoy working with my brother, the rest of the team. So yeah, it was just nice. I enjoy getting to edit stuff, especially something like Lovestruck, which is like I often cut short films where it's like, oh, it's two guys in a room and they're talking, and it's like, oh, okay, anything else? It's like, nope, that's the whole movie. It's like, oh, okay. Whereas like Lovestruck's got loads of scenes and it's got the montage halfway through. It's got like the dancing bit. So there's like a lot of fun stuff, to do in the edit, got some nice rhythms, peaks and troughs and that kind of thing.
Mm.
A lot more fun to work on. Yeah, lots of scenes.
Lots of scenes to cut as well. There's so much was cut.
Scenes to cut. Yeah. That's always fun to do a project like that where there's like, not more than just two people talking.
How about you, Matthew?
I think, yeah. What are we answering the same question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just really enjoyed doing the first film, and I wanted to be involved again. I liked the script, and I thought Richard still had a big part to play in this film. So, I think, I definitely wanted to be involved.
Yeah, I made
someone
sure
else. Could let someone else take Richard's role for the second film.
And also, I made sure he had a bigger part. So.
Yeah, and it was a more, like I said, there was a party scene and the scenes involving two other people, so it was a more challenging role to play, I guess. So yeah, it was a more bigger challenge for me.
Very interesting. Oh, okay. I am very curious. Were there any like funny bloopers when you guys were like shooting the film? Like,
ooh.
Yes, there's quite a lot of bloopers. Yes, I mean I have to remember what they were, but I know there was one where I did animal noises.
Need that compilation, by the way.
So there was animal noises, and Becky was just responded and was just like, "What the F word?" kind of thing.
The naughty F word.
That was her response to that. No, there's quite a lot of bloopers. I think there was also one where, and it was also this scene we ended up cutting out in the end. But like, my character's waiting for Melanie to come out of the door of the flat. And we're waiting, and I'm like, is she even coming out? And it's like, and she said she forgot to come out.
oh.
That's quite funny to watch back. It's like, is she even coming out?
Oh. Oh. So you just made random animal noises in one of the bloopers?
Yeah. I don't know why I even did it. I can't remember the reason. I just went, the creatures and stuff.
Oh my gosh, Andrew, you are giving me Boom Sonic vibes at that one Sonic Boom episode where he just makes all those random noises.
Doesn't know why he did
it. Like, That's pretty funny. So basically, Becky forgot that she was supposed to come out, and you were like, "Oh, oh, that's funny."
Yeah, I think there's also some shots, but they're not really bloopers. But if you look really carefully in one of the scenes, because Thomas had to film one scene in the film, or two scenes, I think it was, you can see his reflection in the doorway.
Yeah, that was quite funny, and we'd often laugh like, "Who's this guy?" Like watching these two hiding in the bushes, like with a camera.
Thomas,
And we just start freeze framing it and be like, "Who's this guy?"
Thomas a ghost.
Yeah, it's me, little peeping Tom.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, just fun little things like that.
Oh my gosh, that was that's pretty funny. Doom, do you have a question for them?
What kind of sandwich was Andersen eating?
Wait, what?
What was the question?
What kind of sandwich was Andersen eating?
Oh, what kind of sandwich was that? Okay, he was eating an egg and cress sandwich.
Okay, I just thought, cause like during the scene where Andersen and Melanie were talking, I was just like, "Come on, dude, eat the sandwich!" I can't help it.
That's for the fourth film, Love Sandwiches. That's when he finally eats a sandwich.
There we go.
Yeah.
I don't need a woman, I need a sandwich.
Yeah, that's what he learns. There we go. The next Lovesick, he learns, I don't need a woman, I just need a sandwich.
Food is my love.
I love this sandwich. And he can marry the sandwich. There we go. Wedding scene with the sandwich.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, that actually happened in a Mickey Mouse short.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like it's funny because Mickey and Donald literally thought Goofy was in love with the waitress lady, but then they find out at the end he's actually attracted to the sub sandwich.
And he married the sandwich.
There you go. Inspiration. I'm taking notes.
Take notes from Disney. Oh, okay. Ooh, okay. Let's see. I know you mentioned the previous Easter egg, the music. It's the same music from the beginning, and you said it's heard throughout the entire short film where it just gets more sad.
Yes.
Are there any other Easter eggs or references that audience may have not caught from watching it?
No, I think that's mainly the main thing, the Lisa theme, as I call it, because it plays throughout the entire film, but just different versions. Yeah, I think it's just that song, really, that track, that music, that theme. Wait, actually, no, wait, I just thought of one. I just realised. There's the bit when he's hiding behind the tree, and Lisa can't find him in the beginning. But if you look in the montage, he does the same thing again with Melanie, but Melanie finds him.
Oh.
So it's kind of like a thing where it's like, oh, hold on here. There's so much little details if you really pay attention to all the scenes.
Very interesting. Like in a way, I think it kind of gives a bit of symbolism from what I can interpret, because like you said, Lisa couldn't find Andersen in the beginning. And I think that kind of foreshadows that like that Lisa is like, it doesn't really understand Andersen, I guess, as a person, and I think that's why she couldn't find him. And then meanwhile with Melanie, since Melanie and Andersen are spending so much time together, she kind of knows Andersen more.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I interpret it as symbolism.
Yeah, I would call it that. Yeah, symbolism.
Mm-hmm. But that's very interesting. Like, I kind of like how it's like an opposite reversal, you could say.
Yeah. I do have a knack of adding or foreshadowing things in my stories. Just
You okay there?
I'm just realizing that, and
Oh.
Yeah, I have a knack of foreshadowing things. A bit like the Sonic radio special, the fourth one. Like, if you pay attention to the dialogue, it does kind of hint like what's coming up when, like when Sonic said, if I get out of this, you're going to burn and crash to Metal Sonic, and that is exactly how he goes. He burns and crashes.
Interesting. All right.
So did you write that foreshadowing, Andrew, when you were writing the script, or was it something that you realised as you were filming, actually, we can do the same in this scene?
It's something that happened during editing. We did, like, me and Thomas kind of just noticed, like, hold on a minute, because the montage scene was mostly improv. So me and Becky would just go and run around, have some fun, and muck around, and just, I guess you could say, just being ourselves as friends, just having fun. And we just used what happened in the film, and it just happened to tie into that scene in the beginning that happened in the film. Which also, the beginning scene we filmed last, along with some other bits, but we didn't film everything with Georgi till like when they're more happy together till last, because when we first met, we didn't actually know each other. So we filmed all the scenes that were supposed to be awkward to make it feel more natural, because we were still kind of like getting to know each other. So I had that distance, and then by then we kind of got to know each other. So then we started filming the beginning, which is why we seem more comfortable around each other. So it's quite a smart way to get that realistic effect.
Very interesting. Ooh, okay. Here's my next question. Andrew, Tom, Matthew, are there any major plot points in the short film that you can relate to the character's situation in your everyday life?
Oh, that's a good question. Tom, would you like to go first?
Question. Big question. Can I pass over to Matthew, I think?
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead, Matt.
I think my girlfriend's listening in right now, so I need to be careful what I say. I think it just shows the importance of communication in relationships, really. Because I think Andersen and Lisa's relationship's kind of breaking down because they're not communicating properly about Lisa saying she wants to go to Canada but not talking to him about it, and Andersen saying or not communicating how important maybe the dance is. I know that Lisa dismissed it initially, but I think, it just shows how communication is important in relationships.
And for me, I think there's not much I can relate to with my obviously current relationship, because obviously we're very happy with each other and stuff, and there's a nice little nice lovely balance. But I guess with my ex, I could relate to on the sense of the distance, because we had that long distance relationship back in the day, me and my ex back then, and I think it did take an effect that kind of felt like it was making me drift apart, which is why it didn't really last in the end. So I can relate through with my ex back in the day with the distance.
I mean, going through the same thing. God dang it!
Oh.
How about you, Tom?
Yeah. I think Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm getting married 5 days. And I've been in a 7-year relationship. So I think the strength of that has been doing the opposite of what Andersen and Lisa do, really, which is you just need to talk to each other because if you don't talk to each other and don't get to the bottom of your problems, then I think it's not worth it. You're just kind of wasting everybody's time. And I think as well, like I think there's no point dragging things out when like love is dead. I think so. Like you've always got to keep love alive. Don't like. Sometimes there's like a desperation there. Like people get clingy because they're like, there's not going to be another person. But it's like, chill out. Like don't suffer in the long term. It's not working.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
Sort of thing.
Yeah. Because when you do get to that point where it's like, oh, maybe it's not working, it is best to communicate and see if you can mend it. And if you can't mend it, then maybe it's not meant to be. And then you will find someone else. If you found one, you will find another. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. Like communication is very key in a relationship because you can clearly see it through the progression in the short film that Lisa and Andersen are just not communicating properly. You can clearly see it like because you could say that like Lisa's putting all of her time into what she's passionately aiming for, and the thing is she's not balancing she's not balancing between work and and the relationship, if anything. And then and of course she's wondering how come he's drifting away. It's like, well, you're not doing a very good job at balancing, between doing what you're trying to aim for and also trying to keep the relationship alive, you know. And communication is very key. Like it's a very true fact.
Yeah.
And it's very realistic because it feels like Lisa is more goal oriented towards more her job than putting time in the relationship too, and that's very relatable, because especially if your partner is like very driven to achieve their dream job or something, and they're not really putting in much effort because it's very obvious that it feels very one-sided at the same time because Andersen's trying to like at least put the effort in trying to like, hey, let's spend some time together, right? But she's just like she's always like shrugging it off, so it's like um, you know, sometimes you have to have you need to balance your work and everyday life. Like I've been told this that do not be too invested into your work. Otherwise you'll never have time to have time for yourself, or if you want to, you know, have a relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that was like it was portrayed very realistically. Like I can tell that like Lisa was very more goal oriented, and that was just what was on her mind more than the relationship.
Yeah.
That meanwhile with Melanie, she's like the opposite. Like she's like it was like I'll go to work because work is important. We all need to go to work to to earn money, so that way we can at least have a good living life, But at the same time, she balances it and actually spends time with Andersen,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like Melanie has a better balance of balancing between work and then go to hang out, So I think that's what's also is important in a relationship too. Like you do need to always find time for each other.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, okay. Doom, do you have a question for them? Uh-oh. Doom?
Nah, brain dead right now.
Okay. Here's my next question, Andrew. Are there any aspects of Andersen's character and personality that, that you relate to?
I don't know. I guess his supportiveness of trying to support his loved ones. That's quite similar to how I feel. I try my best to support friends and family and always there for everybody. Yeah, I guess I can relate to on that front. I think Andersen is a character I think anyone could relate to. I think because I think we've all been there in that mindset, whether you're feeling low in yourself or you feel like you don't know what to do with the direction of life, or you're trying your best and you think you're doing the right thing, but you hope you're doing the right thing. So I think there's a lot of traits of Andersen in all of us.
Mm. Mm-hmm. That I can agree with. All right, here is my next question. This is for all three of you. What lessons can the short film teach the audience?
Communication. Yeah, I'd say communication, honesty, and communication and honesty.
Well, I think it shows what you should do in a relationship. So then you kind of do the opposite.
Yes. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, I think what you said. I think fundamentally, don't drag things out if it's not working. Talk to each other, clear the air. Don't just suddenly get a job in Canada and be like, "We're going to Canada, guys." It's like, what? So yeah, yeah, I think that's all important. And also, like for Andersen, when he's like hanging out with Melanie, like maybe he needs to be a bit more conscious about what's happening. So he's not like, "Oh my goodness, I seem to be in love," and it's like, well, maybe pay more attention.
Yeah, like you could say the short film is kind of like it's kind of like a very like it's kind of like you got to be careful to not get too close to someone else when you're currently in a relationship,
Yeah.
Like I've seen that happen a lot, so
Yeah, I think Andersen's situation though is why it's problematic, because Lisa's making him feel distant and Melanie's making him feel that joyfulness that he's missing from Lisa, so he's getting torn. Which can happen. You can meet someone else, and if your relationship is going stale or something, there's a problem and you trying to fix it, but you suddenly meet someone else who suddenly brings all this joy and fun, you get kind of it was music.
That was my brother.
And then sometimes, you meet someone else who suddenly just comes across like, actually, maybe this person is in my life for a reason.
Yeah, like it pretty much like, you have to make the decision, it's kind of like you have to make that conscious decision of like, do I still want to be in this relationship where my partner's being so distant with me, or do I want to or go out with this other person who actually where they make me feel so much joy in my life that my relationship is missing. You know, so it's definitely a tough conscious choice, because in some situations in real life, sometimes you can fix the relationship if you communicate properly. You know, you have to tell them how you feel, that like, I feel like we're getting distant. You know, if like if Andersen would have like communicated how he really feels every time Lisa shrugs off any idea of spending time together, maybe she would have got the message. But if she's still goal oriented towards her dream job, then it's kind of like you might need to Andersen may need to rethink the relationship. Like, is this what I want? You know, to be stuck in this stale relationship where my partner's more interested in pursuing her dream job than spending time with me. You know, like
yeah, because Andersen never really voices that concern to Lisa. And maybe if he did, Lisa would step back and see, actually, hang on, we're not hanging out or making time for each other, and then she might change, and then the relationship might then be a lot better again. Because I think Lisa's probably just got carried away with her career, and in a way, she's, like she said in that argument, she's doing that for the good of the both of them. But obviously, that's to the detriment of their relationship. But Andersen kind of doesn't voice that concern and just gets carried away with Melanie. But yeah, again, it goes back to communication.
Yeah, but I think it's also a case where Andersen's probably a bit scared because he doesn't want to lose her. So he's probably scared to approach her about it because she might be like, "What are you saying?" kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which kind of happens at the end. He does actually kind of open up, and she did get kind of funny with him, like, "What are you trying to say?" kind of thing. So I think that's why he gets a bit scared as well, because he doesn't want to lose what he loves.
Yeah,
I guess it's just that's yeah.
Yeah, like, because like everyone has different reaction, you know, when you have to have that talk, you know? Like everyone has like different reaction. It's like you said, Andersen is like very hesitant because he thinks Lisa might react in a negative way, if anything, you know, if anything. And that's understandable, because it's like you said, Andrew, Andersen doesn't want to lose the person he loves so much, because you know, like she might turn it into something confrontational, like, oh, are you not supportive of my dreams or something?
Yeah, it's the fear of the unknown, and I think that's what he has an approach to about it. He wants to, but he's hoping it will pick up and get better. But he's also very committed to her, as seen in some of the scenes where he puts the little blanket over her, and you know, he still wants to hang and play video games with her, and he arranged the whole big anniversary dance. So he's still going full on and really caring about her. And that's why he's torn at the end, because he loves her. He's worried, like, is this going to be what it's going to be all the time? Is she going to work in Canada and constantly continue the non-stop work, and he's going to be sitting there doing nothing nearly every day with no one really to hang with? Or, you know, he does support her, but he's stuck in a dilemma where he just wants to spend some time with her.
You could say it's like a very cautionary tale, you know. It's kind of like you have to be cautious of, like, you know, of like, if your partner is more into like pursuing their dream job, you know, are they made, because sometimes you have to think about it, like, if they're not making time for you, it's like Tom said, it's not worth it to keep the relationship going, you know, because there's some people, you know, there's some people who have like a dream they want to achieve, right? The dream job they want to get, you know, and the thing is, it's like, it's kind of like what Tiana's father from The Princess and the Frog said. It's like, you got to work hard, you know, to make that happen. It's like you can wish on a star, a shooting star, right? But you have to work at it, you know, at the same time.
Yeah.
And And I think, but since this is like more of since it's a cautionary tale of like, it feels like Lisa needs to learn more how to balance, balance between work and spending time with Andersen. Because Andersen is doing most of like I said earlier, Andersen feels he's doing most of the work in the relationship when it should be both of them equally, to make time for each other.
Yeah.
Let's see, Ooh, okay. Here's a question for you, Tom and Matthew. What have you learned from being a part of the production, and what insights did you gain from being a part of it?
Ooh. I mean, the first film was my first ever proper acting role, so this was my second ever acting role. So it was just a lot of insight into how films are actually shot. Obviously, we had the boom mic and all the different takes, and then also kind of hearing all about the post production work that goes on and how it's all put together at the end. So I think, yeah, I learned a lot.
You, Tom?
Yeah, I guess for me, like with it being a short film on such a low budget, on this film, I was like doing the sound recording, the editing, the sound editing, um, the online edit, the offline edit, all the assistant work. So like, I think it made me realize just like how much work goes into each job. Whereas like when you're on a much larger production, like so in the industry, I'm an assistant editor, and my job is just to do like a lot of the technical stuff. I don't actually get to cut anything, or I don't obviously do any sound recording. So I think it made me realize like if you have a passionate team, I guess, then you can like have a small crew and you can go really far because everyone will step up and help out and do the role that they need to do to make sure the film gets made. And I think when you think about a traditional film set, you've got first AD, second AD, DOP, focus puller, camera operator, sound recorders, boom operator, gaffers and all that. And then on this one, it's like we got the director, we got the sound guy, the clapper, and the cameraman, and that's it. There's like a team of 4 people behind the scenes, and then the director's the actor as well. It's like you realize how small we were as a team, but we still managed to make something that clearly resonated with people and has got a good response. So I think just goes to show it doesn't matter how big the budget is on a film, as long as the story is good and the talent is good, you still make a great movie, I'd say.
Nice. Ooh, okay. I want to know from all 3 of you, from your perspective, the character of Richard, why do you think from your perspective he played a huge role? Like, why do you think?
I'll let Matt go first on this.
Yeah, I think he was important as part of the film, kind of be almost like a therapist for Andersen, because he kind of was the person who gave him that advice and support. So without that, Andersen, and then those scenes let you see Andersen's thoughts and mind and what he's going through, so you see that in more detail. And yeah, it just shows that Andersen's got someone close to him, beside him, who can help him through his situation, really.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's the support. In some cases, he is Andersen's rock, even though it should be Lisa, but it seems to be Richard. He's the go-to guy to help him in his situation. So he's a very important character, and he's the big support.
Yeah, I concur with both Andrew and Matthew. Nothing to add.
Okay, looks like we have room for one more question. Let's see. Okay. I'm very curious, Andrew, what was your experience of being interviewed by a news publisher about the short film? Like, what were your like emotions? How were you feeling when you were being interviewed?
Nervous, surprised, excited, and it just felt very surreal. Because I've never had that before.
Where is the proud?
Oh, proud. Yes, I was proud. Yes.
Use that word more often.
I thought you said, "Where's the prowl?" I was like, "Who's prowl?"
Who?
Where's the prowl? The what? Yeah, proud. Yes, I was. Yeah, I think I'm not used to it. If I'm honest, I've. Here's the thing. Not to sound like too serious, but as a kid growing up, you're in school and you're bullied for being yourself. You like what you like and you do what you do, but you get bullied. So I had a lot of that in my school life. So I kind of got to a point where I find it hard to react to nice things. So when someone says a compliment, I'm always like, "Oh, thanks," but my mind just doesn't know how to react. So with this situation, with the review in the newspapers, I was like, brilliant. It's just like it's great. It really is great. But and yes, I am proud. And but yeah, it's hard for me to take in sometimes lovely compliments. I need to get used to it. I need to readapt my brain.
Oh, Andrew, when you get here for Revel in person, you're gonna get a lot of compliments. So you're gonna have to. You're going to
at some point gonna receive "Thank you for being the voice of my childhood." For example, me.
Aww.
Yes, unfortunately, we will have to end this Q&A. I want to thank you, Andrew, Matthew, and Tom for for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know it's like late over there. To do this Q&A with Doom and I. We love the short films so much. That's why I want to do this Q&A, and the fact it won 9 awards, that's impressive.
Yeah, and we've got 2 more festivals left to go, so we'll find out what happens with those.
It was just it was very insightful to know the behind the scenes about this short film, and learning so much from you guys, and it's been such a blast to do this Q&A with you. and of course, I knew question was coming, Doom, about the plates. That plates question was inevitable.
I needed to know why those plates were empty. Thankfully, I have an answer.
Are you glad you finally have your answer?
Yes, I am. I am very glad.
Has it been quelled in your head now? Okay, now it's gone. It doesn't bother me anymore.
The rest easy tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can finally sleep.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew, Matthew, Tom, do you guys have any final words?
I wanted to say thank you for having me. It was great, and it's an honor to be interviewed by you two. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and it's been really cool to be involved, and it's nice to see that the film's kind of had an impact outside of the UK as well. So that's really nice. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Yeah, appreciate it. It's nice to talk about the film. Yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it.
Yeah. Like,
no, I loved it. I did not like it. I love it.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Dew and I are so invested in it. We're like, where's the sequel? We need to know what happened.
We had like a whole conversation about it, like how invested we are, and then.
Yeah.
Well, there is a sequel coming. We're hoping to film. I believe, hopefully, the end of this year. I think Tom said, or you were saying to me, or was
hopefully start of next year. Hopefully.
Or hopefully start of next year, and hopefully get it released.
I mean, what I would like to do, I like to shoot it start of next year for release by Christmas.
Ooh.
That's what I'd like to do.
Yeah, we'll try.
To get it written, you gotta write it.
Yeah, I need to write the film, and we've also got a comedy as well that we still need to put together and start filming at some point.
On that note, I want to thank you all for tuning in to this 14th episode of Goddess Spotlight with Liaserenityrose. And also stay tuned because I have the 15th episode of Goddess Spotlight with Liaserenityrose fully confirmed, episode 15, which is Q&A with MC Voices, which Nays will be co-hosting with me for his Q&A on April 21st at 3 p.m. 6 p.m. ET, so be sure to tune in for that.
Hey, Nays.
Yeah, so may you all have a wonderful day, and thank you all for tuning into this Q&A. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
There you go.